Okay, we're live. Testing, testing. Today on Quality Time with Family Ties, we learn history repeats itself. History repeats itself. History repeats itself. Go ahead, Corey, whenever you're ready.
Hello there, everybody. Welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I am one of your hosts, Corey Pepper, and I am here with Paul Packler. How are you, Paul?
Woo, it's me. I'm great. I'm great. My internet is falling apart right now, so hopefully this will work. We had an issue that we recorded this episode already, and I am of the mindset that WikiLeaks actually destroyed our last episode.
Was this by the direction of the Russian government as well?
I'm just one guy saying, but
I understand.
the day that we recorded the episode.
Many people have said to me that they thought that the Russians were onto our podcast of Quality Time with Family Ties, and that something had to be done about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's so here's what happened. Our episode got totally crap. Like we don't have a beginning of the episode. We don't have an end of the episode. It's just 24 minutes from the middle of the episode, and the first 10 minutes of what we have recorded is just a woman screaming, which may or may not be from the episode of White Bear from Black Mirror, which I was watching before we started recording. I think WikiLeaks fucked up YouTube, and that was what happened.
And it was, listen, I'm going to say this, I'm totally impartial. It was our most brilliant, witty conversation that you and I have ever had. And it was, afterwards, we both texted each other, I'm so proud of this. It's the pinnacle of my career. And I was so happy until you told me that it was gone.
Yeah. Honestly, it was Vidal and Buckley. It was Lincoln Douglas.
Let's be honest.
We cried.
The worst part about this, Paul, is the fact that we have to spend another half hour talking about 22 mediocre minutes of television.
Yeah, exactly. This is truly just a nothing burger of an episode, and the fact that we have to talk about it again is the worst possible hell.
Hey, did you notice Theora Balsam? Not Theora Balsam. I know Theora Balsam. Talia Balsam is back on television in a regular role.
Oh, what's she in?
She's in Sarah Jessica Parker's Divorce on HBO.
I hear that's a great show, and it's one of the writers is Tom Sharpling, who does Best Show, and he's hilarious. So I really want to watch that.
And the creator is the woman who created Qtwft on Hulu. That's just one of the best series that I've seen, best written comedy series that I've seen in a long time. And it's just the story of a relationship. It's just a guy and a gal. And it's adorable. It's 6. They've been on for 2 seasons, renewed for a 3rd, and it's just a guy and a gal, and it's so hilarious. Her name is Sharon Horgan, and she is British, and he's the American. And they created this series together. But she created Divorce, and I was watching Talia Balsam, thinking of wow, those were the good old days on Family Ties when we had guest stars like Talia Balsam, and instead we get saddled with Corey Feldman.
Oh, Corey Feldman. Oh yeah, there are so many people in this episode. It's worth noting, and still nothing good comes of it. Before we get started, Corey, I just want to put word out to people who are watching in real time. I can see that people are watching. Can you understand what we're saying? Is my internet so bad that this is a mess? Tweet at us.
Because if we had to do this a 3rd time, If
Yeah.
I just want you to picture this, people, if we had to do this a third time, both of us would be sitting here with revolvers at our heads.
It's true. It's true. And I'm maybe a bazooka. I might go out and buy a bazooka.
And it's only because of our silly little suicide pact that we're even proceeding with this episode a second time.
Yeah, exactly. Truly. So let's get started. And yeah, please tweet us and let us know if this is working. But this is season 4, episode 13, The Disciple, which has nothing to do with anything.
13, Paul. Unlucky 13. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I didn't even think of that.
And the religious references, which freak both you and I out.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's the disciple.
So we start with Jennifer.
Go ahead.
Oh God, we're lagging, Corey. This is gonna be a mess. So here's what we'll do. You talk. You run us through, and then I'll jump in once you let us know where we are.
Okay.
This is the worst episode of Quality Time. It is the worst episode we're ever gonna do. Right now, I can tell.
And I do want to say, hey, Scott, we really miss you on an episode like this, because at least if you and I are both sitting somewhere in Sherman Oaks, our internet's not all that fucked up. It's just Paul's. So we start in the living room of the Keaton home. Jennifer is preparing an oral report for her social studies class about how bills become laws. And at this very moment, Skippy bursts in wearing what I thought to be a beret.
It's not. It's just a backwards hat that a train conductor or communist would wear. These are all jokes from what we did last time.
I want you to know this would be my best acting performance if I didn't just hang one to you just like that. Like, okay, I sort of remember talking about this last week. I sort of remember watching this episode last week. I sort of remember everything. And the other thing about this hat, just to, for the punchline, Paul, you also said, besides being a backwards conductor's cap, something that you would wear.
Oh, absolutely. I just don't have it on my head right now, but I do own that hat, yes.
We find out that the Boswells are coming over with Timmy, their small infant child, who's a friend of Andrew's, and that the Keatons and the Boswells are very competitive with each other about the development of their child, leading to a joke later on that enrages both of us.
Yes. The thing about the Boswells is that they are coming to pick up the Keatons for a play date as if the Keatons don't own a car. That is something odd.
It is a little odd, isn't it? As if they couldn't. And let's face it, they live in suburban Ohio. How easy would it be to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Boswell, we'll meet you at the strip mall, instead of this big production of the... First of all, can you imagine this, Paul? 2 parents and a baby in a baby seat. 2 parents, a baby in a baby seat. What are they driving? A Cadillac Eldorado?
That's true too, or maybe all the wood-paneled station wagons that were such a big hit in the 80s. That could be what they were driving.
I went in a wood-paneled station wagon from Long Island to Washington, D.C. with my aunt and uncle and 2 cousins when I was about maybe 10 or 11 years old. And we stopped at a rest stop in suburban, Maryland, and I got a hot dog. And if I remember correctly, it was during Easter vacation, but it was still a little chilly on the East Coast. So it was chilly in the DC area. And there was a mustard packet on the ground. And I thought at the age of 10, it would be clever to stamp upon that mustard packet and see exactly where the mustard would fly out. And I stamped on the mustard packet, and it flew out and hit this woman standing there in a mink coat.
My favorite is the mink coat. That
Yeah,
of all the things.
he was wearing a fucking mink coat, and she was horrified. I was mortified and horrified, and my mother was just angry. And she hit me really hard with the back of her hand. And my mother had small, stubby little hands, and she wore these like rings that she like begged my father for. And she hit me really hard, and it hurt. And I started crying like nobody's business. And the woman in the mink coat flipped out at my mother. How dare you hit your child? I don't know what you're thinking. She defended me, that wonderful, that fabulous lady in the mink coat. And my father had to come over and like make peace and get her address and say, send me the cleaning bill and we'll have your coat cleaned and don't worry about it.
But I'm agog. What a crazy story.
And
What
all
a
stream of is based upon wood-paneled station wagon.
This is like Spalding Gray right here, folks.
Yeah, don't tell me. Last time it was Gore Vidal and William F. Buckley. This time it's My Dinner with Andre.
Yeah, truly. We're going to get deep. We're going to start talking about Grotowski. We're going to talk about all kinds of deep Freudian things that we have.
That's me already.
It's a fancy way of pronouncing Gronkowski.
Oh, is it a fancy way of pronouncing Gronkowski?
Yeah.
Like Rob Gronkowski
exactly.
of the New England Patriots? Does Paul even know who Rob Gronkowski of the New England Patriots is?
No, not even a little bit.
That's a thought. Okay, so Elise cautions Stephen not to start any arguments with the Boswells who are about to arrive. Ralph Boswell comes in to our first wonderful character actor performance of the week, David Wall.
He sucks. He always sucks.
He's been on the show. Now, this is his second or third appearance on the show, and we have at least one more to go, right?
Yeah, he's going to be the voice of the psychiatrist that Alex goes to in the big after-school special episode, My Name is Alex. And David Wall is a terrible actor. He was a terrible actor when we talked about this a couple days ago, and he's still a terrible actor.
I'm feeding you your cues. That's all. I'm just trying to.
But Corey, I love that we're doing like a meta thing because this episode is about history, and we're playing with time.
Oh, we are completely. No, yes. So Skippy, we asked the question the last time, and I'll ask it again this time. Why is Skippy in the scene? We have no idea. It was as if he had it in his contract that he had to be in 13 episodes, and this was the 13th. I don't know. It's just very weird.
Yeah, because Skippy doesn't really come back. He just establishes the expository information that Jennifer has a oral presentation in history class. And she wants Mallory to help, and then she begs Alex to help, and he accepts, but with the caveat that you're gonna have to do it his way or the highway.
That may be a line for the show, as far as I know. But we have this really awkward moment where Mallory says that she needs to go change her clothes, and Skippy says, do you need any help? And Mallory goes, actually, she sort of plays it in a funny way where she sort of goes like, do you need help? Like, fuck you. She goes from fuck you to, hey, you know what? Maybe that's not such a bad idea, Skippy. Why don't you come upstairs and slowly help me unwrap this present, okay, baby? Because I've been waiting for you since Ethan Feldman's bar mitzvah. I am really excited, and Skippy is like, and he's out of there. He runs out of the house.
Yeah, he has one of those things where it's an outline of Skippy in the Keaton's front door.
We would normally be like Bugs Bunny or Roadrunner.
Yeah, or Chevy Chase at the end of Nothing But Trouble.
Oh, wow. Reference. You see, folks, it does get esoteric. You just referenced Nothing But Trouble.
the movie only no one has seen.
And I'm thinking to myself, of all of the bad Chevy Chase movies, and I have not seen Nothing But Trouble, but of all the bad Chevy Chase movies, and there are a lot of them that you could mention, that's one of the worst.
Corey, I feel like the Goldie Hawn Chevy Chase movies, there were a lot of bad ones, right?
That was that Foul Play?
That was one of them, but I feel like they did at least 4 or 5.
It did. And amidst all of those bad Goldie Hawn movies was actually one of my favorite Chevy Chase movies, Fletch. The first Fletch, I like.
I watched it and I couldn't get into it. It just felt like, because so many things had built off it, it just felt dated. I don't know.
It could be. The only time I've seen it was when it was released in the movie theaters originally. So I've never seen it, but I always think back, yeah, it wasn't terrible. Anyway, so Mallory is late for work. Skippy runs out. Alex comes in, and we're on to our major plot, which is My Way or the Highway. Jennifer begs Alex for help. Alex asks, "What's in it for me?" There's really nothing in it for him except the pride that he will take of creating a monster in his little sister. We referenced the fact that they sort of missed the Henry Higgins, Eliza Doolittle moment that they missed a couple of weeks ago too in another episode. And they just sort of miss it, and they go straight for Alex's ego and insisting that Jennifer do it his way. He turns him to Drill Sergeant Alex P. Keaton, and that's the end of the first scene.
Yeah, and the problem with this whole plot line, as we said before, Corey, I love qualifying everything as like the audience who's listening is going to give one shit that we're like, oh, we talked about this last time.
They don't know. We're the only ones who know what we talked about the last time.
Yeah. But the problem with this episode is that we never see him actually teach her anything.
No.
He gives her some big books, and then he's sitting on a couch watching TV as she's reading them, but there's no process of him taking over or him writing stuff for it. We never see any of the training montage.
Nothing. And you said big books, and that's exactly what we cut to at the beginning of this second scene. It's in the living room. It's later on. And just so that, in case anyone has not seen this episode, we're not talking about Harry Potter being a big book. We're talking about the unabridged Oxford English dictionary that's in your school library that 3 people had to carry in. The books are yay big. They're 1.5 feet tall, and there's 9 of them on the table. So it's not like Alex went and got a simple David McCullough biography of someone from American history. It's not like he went and just got we'll research with the David McCullough biography.
Oh, I'm sorry, Corey. Dropping names. Let me pick those up for you. David McCullough.
There we go.
Look at that.
Now, I think I just heard it on Jeopardy last night. I think that's why it was a Jeopardy question.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And while they're working on Alex is terrorizing Jennifer in a way that a brother should never terrorize a little sister. The fact is disclosed that there's an award at Jennifer's high school, Alex's former high school, which is the Thomas E. Dewey Award for history of some sort, where the best oral presentation. And Alex. Well, I don't want to ruin the joke, of course, which is, and Jennifer goes, I don't want to win the Thomas E. Dewey Award. Only losers and nerds win that award. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, well, actually, Jennifer, I won it 3 times.
There you go. That's the bit that they worked up there. Mm-hmm.
The fact that you counted off the joke like a choreographer.
I'm sure you didn't 3, 2, 1 it. You're 5, 6,
I did.
7.
I didn't 3, 2, 1 it. I 5, 6, which just shows my musical theater gifts live deep within the very marrow of my bones.
Yeah, there's no escaping that. That is musical theater in your soul.
Mm-hmm. I'm sort of channeling Zach, the choreographer from Chorus Line tonight.
Oh, okay. Not Patrick Bristow from Showgirls?
Oh, no. Patrick Bristow? You mean the comedic genius, Patrick Bristow, comedy
Yeah.
god Patrick Bristow, guru, ginger guru of all that is comedic, Patrick Bristow. Now, actually, a guy who I really do think is quite funny, and probably was a wonderful teacher. I mean, he was not a bad teacher at all.
No, he's great.
We just objected to how he was brought in to teach us.
Yeah. And we didn't really do that much anyway.
No, they only paid him for one day. That's all. That was all he did.
Yeah, good for him.
But
Get that money.
He's been directing. A good friend of mine has been doing a show that he has been the show director of for years now, called Puppet Up. It's a Henson improv thing with improv puppets.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and she just did it in Vegas for a couple of months. It was in Vegas over the summer, and Patrick is the creator of this, and for the Henson Company.
Right. He's like the head of Groundlings now, right? Or is he's just like one of the main people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I teach at one of the people who I worked with at New York Film Academy. One of the other improv teachers was one of the creators of Pee-wee, with Pee-wee at the Ground.
What? That's amazing. Who? What's their name?
His name is George McGrath. He won a couple of Emmy Awards for working with Pee-wee.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I love Pee-wee. Did you see the movie? Did you watch the new Netflix movie?
I did watch the new Netflix movie, and I sort of kind of liked it, but I sort of kind of thought it went on too long.
No, that's fair. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. But yeah, it's a little bit.
It's all over the place, but I did enjoy it. So where are we? We're with the Dewey Award, and then it's nighttime now, and everybody comes into the room in their bathrobes that we now discussed that we will now log bathrobe wearing. For some reason, they're all wearing their bathrobes. We had a really interesting discussion about bathrobes covering up breasts in the last one. Just don't have the energy to do it again.
No, I mean, the TLDR version for you kids out there is that boobs, they hurt when you put them in a bra. And, you don't want to wear that at night when you're lying around, and so you take it off. That's the short version. So, and then on TV, you don't want floppy boobs all over the place.
That's it. That's the whole thing. We did 10 minutes on it the last time, and you boiled it down to a good 40 seconds. That was incredible.
Thank you.
We walk around and do that for each other all the time. People would probably tolerate me so much better if there was someone shortening editing all the bullshit that comes out of my mouth into nice little tiny little morsels.
It's like Key and Peele. I give the tweet version of Corey Pepper.
That's it. Well, that was one of my favorite jokes of the campaign was when Trump announced that now the shackles are off. And someone said, what shackles? The shackles of 140 characters? There was a Seth Meyers line.
Oh, that's good.
And I've officially stopped watching Trevor Noah. It took me a little over a year. I'm sure you were off of that months ago.
Yeah, what how come? What's the problem with
I just feel like he has really, after a year, he now has his own comedic voice that's very distinct to me, that he's now morphed. Because when he started, he was just getting Jon Stewart material, and he was doing the best with it that he could. But now he exerted his influence. They want to write for him. He wants to change the writing to be his voice. And now that I feel like it's officially his voice, I don't care for it. I don't like it.
That's fair.
He uses a comedic technique of having people speak in funny voices after he makes a premise. So he does the premise, and then he goes, well, look at that, Margaret, they're having tea. He does like funny little voices commenting on the joke. I don't think it's funny after he does it 9 times in one 22-minute episode.
Right.
And I just started, I said, okay, so I'm not going to watch Trevor Noah anymore. So now I'm going to watch the first, 10 minutes of Seth Meyers every night. I do like Seth Meyers. I think his writing has actually gotten better, and his show has gotten cleaner as time has gone on.
Oh, okay. I mean, I've seen some of his stuff, and it's good. But yeah, I just never watched that or anything. I watch a little bit of Samantha Bee, and John Oliver is who I usually watch.
Yes, John Oliver. Those are my two favorites, actually, Samantha Bee and John Oliver. And of course, I know there's not a night that goes by that Fallon, you don't at least catch Fallon's monologue.
Does he even do a monologue? Is he like even pretending that he tells jokes?
I poked the bear. I went and I poked the bear. I went and I did it. I poked him. Jimmy Fallon. He's funny.
Why? You're so antagonistic today. It's this redoing an episode is really pulling out the worst.
I knew I was going to be angry this whole time. I thought, I won't announce it. It'll just come out how angry I am that we have to do it a second time. This horrendous piece of poop has to be talked about for a second time now. So where are we? Oh, the B plot rears its ugly head right here after the bathrobes. It's the Boswell. Oh, that's right. What's the kid's name? Timmy Boswell versus Andy Keaton subplot is announced. We cut to school.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Corey, can I say something with the B plot? Mm-hmm. The only interesting thing that we discovered and found and talked about last time about this Timmy Boswell character is that he is also an infant, or like whatever. He's a year old, like Andy is. And so Timmy has beaten Stephen Keaton at backgammon 2 games out of 3. And so we are finding out that Stephen, because we talked about in seasons 1 through 4, that he has competition issues with Jay Tarsis. He has competition issues with his son, whom he plays chess with. He has competition with his father, and now with a 12-month-old. And so Stephen Keaton has the weirdest psychological issues that we've ever come across. He's competing with 4 generations of humans.
Absolutely. So, and by the way, and that joke was just like the worst. That joke when he dropped that one, it was just one of those moments where, and then he's beaten me 2 out of 3 games at backgammon. When he dropped that joke, it was just sort of like, well, I don't think Stephen Keaton is stupid. And if it was supposed to be a joke that Stephen Keaton was making, it should have been clearer.
Yeah. It was just too absurd. And
if there's anything, this is not exactly, theater of the absurd here. This is not Eugene Ionesco.
Oh, look at us, Grotowski, Ionesco. Everyone's getting a real education tonight.
Don't worry, comedy comes in 3s. Now the pressure's really on me.
Yeah.
So we cut to the school, and Jennifer there's another student giving their oral presentation about what the Electoral College does, which is very timely for 2016.
Right.
Jennifer's wearing the single ugliest sweater in the history of television, where I believe that it's a black sweater with white ghosts and things hanging on it. It's really ugly. And Alex is there with Jennifer, trying to help her to set up for her oral presentation, and he decides that he is going to he wants to make sure the teacher doesn't think for an instant that Alex helped with this project, so he adopts a character who's stupid. And for stupid character, he goes, "Oh, what stupid character do I know? My sister's boyfriend, Nick." So he's sort of like a Stallone, like Nick. Then he works at the quarry, and he's just not very bright when he does this. But he finagles an invitation to stay in class and help Jennifer, watch Jennifer. And of course, once he finagles the invitation, let's see, where's there an empty seat in this classroom? Oh, that's right, center stage. That's right, the seat dead center is right there. He sits, and Jennifer does her oral presentation, which is, about how bills become laws, and she's dressed like the Statue of Liberty, and music comes up, and we had commented, and I do still feel this way, that perhaps Alex should have been a little bit more interactive with her final presentation. Maybe he should have had like a boombox with music. Maybe he should have had some special effects where he was throwing confetti of some sort, like a Disney show. You know, maybe there should have been something from Alex instead of him watching. The only thing we got, there was one moment where she was talking and Alex like a beauty contest mommy. He like was lip syncing her words back to her. So that was the only reverse shot that we saw. But other than that, that's really the end of the first act. Is Jennifer doing her very complex oral presentation, in which Alex sort of orchestrated the whole thing, and yet we never saw her really help her at all.
No. But on that note, let me do the TLDR version of her presentation, like I did with the boob talk.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, if you watch the video of "I'm Just a Bill" from Schoolhouse Rock, you would enjoy it. It's only 3.5 minutes, and it's way better than this episode of Family Ties. Like I don't know why they decided to hang their hat on something that had already been done so much better, but they did. And now we'll be right back. And we're back. I'm going to put my hat back on.
Well, Skippy's gone. It's a Skippy hat. Yeah, it's definitely.
There you go.
After hat is John Lennon Imagine.
No, it's sort of a Skippy hat. It's sort of like a winter cap.
Elmer Fudd, kind of.
Wow. And the last time in the recording that no one else will see, I commented that you were sweating, that it was so warm. And today you're wearing like a wool cap with. Yeah, well, you were in the closet the last time too.
Exactly, yeah. We're just doing all kinds of, like, we're doing bookends, we're doing themes that are going arcs. Like, truly, for anyone who goes back and watches that, like, bad David Lynchian production of that 24-minute video, you're going to get a lot of really interesting...
Is that 24-minute video still posted online?
It's there. If you're listening now, go watch it. It's a mess.
If you thought what you're watching now was a mess, no, my friends, you haven't seen a mess until you've seen this 24-minute abortion that we did last week with no beginning, no end, and 24 rambling minutes in the middle.
There are moments where you're just talking and moving like this, and then the sound is normal. But you're going like, and it keeps cutting between. It's insane.
I sure hope Scott watches that, and when he comments upon this episode, as I'm sure he will in the many amounts of time. By the way, I believe Carrie's pregnant again. Just wanted to mention that. Anyway, that's Scott. He's 5'1", 5'1" of sperm. That's all he is.
I don't even know what to say at that point. That's amazing.
Carrie will kill me. I'm joking.
They're like rabbits, those two.
No, unbelievable. It's like, oh no, we're gonna build a big family. Exactly. Calm down, okay? You got to relax.
They're the Cratchits. He's like Bob Cratchit.
Tiny Tim. He would have Tiny Tim as a child.
Yeah.
So here we are in the fabulous second act of Family Ties, season 4, episode 13. We're in the kitchen. Alex is reliving the whole school experience for Elise and Steven. Everybody, it's a great triumph. He feels that it was a magnificent triumph, but yet every member of the Keaton family takes credit for it. Elise says it was her influence. Steven says it was his influence. Alex said it was his influence. Everyone wants to take credit for Jennifer's good fortune.
These shitty parents, Corey. Like, they didn't help Jennifer out at all. And then and it's like, hey, we did a great job, Jennifer and I. And the parents are like, well, I did this when I was 12. And it's just shocking that they are so wanting to inject themselves.
Absolutely, it is. And the only thing that makes this scene even remotely palatable is the fact that Alex walks around swilling a glass of orange juice, which always makes me happy. Jennifer's sad, however. We learn that Jennifer is actually sort of depressed and sad because she admits to everybody, including Alex, that she frankly didn't understand what the hell she was saying, that it was all fed to her by Alex. She learned it by rote, and it wasn't really her thoughts, and she knows that she's getting credit that she shouldn't be getting. And of course, now how do we raise the stakes? How do we raise the stakes? Mrs. Pedroza, the teacher, shows up. She shows up, by the way, it's evening in the house, and she wants to show up. It's like Wednesday night, and she shows up to alert Jennifer that she's nominating her for the Dewey Award, which ceremony is Friday. So she has this moment where she asks Alex, hey, Alex, how did everything go at the quarry today? And Alex responds or doesn't respond, and she then looks at him again, and she goes, Alex, how did everything go at the quarry today? And I'm not sure whether she thought he was deaf or educationally impaired, certainly handy capable, I'm sure. I'm just not so sure what she thought, but it was insulting on so many different levels that you and I were both shocked as all get out.
Yeah. I'm shocked at your performance, that it was so oh my god, I almost killed you. How much you nailed her performance in its offensiveness, that it was just like you're watching it and your mouth is open, your jaw is dropped watching this woman.
Well, she said it over such a long period of time that you really had enough time to actually go, is she really? Oh, she is. I'm going to drop my mouth open. I can't believe this. And she's still saying it. And then Alex is reacting to it, and the audience's canned laughter is building underneath this, like it's hysterical. And I'm thinking, nobody thought this was offensive? That she's treating, and at best, Alex was charactery. He did not seem really retarded.
Right. Yeah. I mean, she escalated things to such a degree when in the previous scene when she was talking to him, he gave no implications that he was like developmentally challenged or anything. He was just like a dumb guy that worked in a mine, you know.
Do you remember Dirty Rotten Scoundrels and Steve Martin's performance in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and how probably in retrospect, I don't know if anyone could get away with it, because he really was playing somebody who seemed profoundly challenged. I mean, the character that he was playing, who seemed profoundly challenged.
Right. This was Alex's portrayal of this quarryman was nowhere near that. If that was a 10, he was at a 2.
Exactly. So it was sort of like, nah, and it really didn't warrant a comment. I could understand if he was playing it like Steve Martin played it in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, that someone would go, oh, there's something wrong with him. But there's nothing wrong with him, and it's clear. She just sort of plays it for a very cheap laugh. We cut to the school, and it's the Dewey Award ceremony, and here we go, ladies and gentlemen. For the second time in less than 2 years, an actor from Stand By Me makes an appearance. It's Corey Feldman, he's the first nominee for the Dewey Award, giving a very nice little speech. This is the second time. We had a couple of weeks ago. We had River Phoenix, the late great River Phoenix, appeared on the show. It was a real big guest star part. This is a very small little co-star that Corey Feldman's doing.
Also Corey Feldman is the third member of the Goonies cast. I'm wearing a Goonies t-shirt. Of the Goonies cast to show up, we had Chunk, the kid who played Chunk. We had Martha Plimpton a couple weeks ago, and now we have Corey Feldman. So this Venn diagram of Corey Feldman, he's a lot of pop culture.
Absolutely. And then we get this jaw-dropping moment, another jaw-dropping moment in the show, where all of a sudden the Boswells show up at the Dewey Award ceremony. And thank God we don't have to edit this time. The last time we started babbling about this, neither of us paid a lot of attention to the scene. So I'm going to cut to what I think we said. We finally decided upon what this was, where Stephen and Elise invited the Boswells to come to Jennifer's Dewey Award ceremony so that competitive Stephen could brag about how bright one of his children was. And in this case, it's not Andrew, it's Jennifer who's brilliant. Come and see how brilliant she is. So they come to the Dewey Award ceremony. And what actually happens at this? Did Jennifer win the Dewey Award? Did she not win it? Or did we stop caring?
Well, that's one thing. We totally stopped caring. But the thing is, we never really find out if she's competing against Corey Feldman, if they're of two different parts, that they're both getting awards. We have no idea.
Nope.
And so Jennifer gets up on stage, and this is the other big problem with this episode. Besides not seeing her learning with Alex or working on stuff, we don't know if the problem is that Alex took over the project and just did everything for her, or that he forced her to do stuff that she didn't want to do. We never know what the problem is here.
And we said either way that it goes, Paul, whether it's Alex who's the aggressor or Jennifer's the aggressor or whatever it is, Alex is 20 years old. He should have known right from wrong on this one. Once again, it's another weakening of Alex's character, or just totally strengthening his narcissism. That this was all about just being winning, baby. I want to win. I don't care if I don't win. If I don't win, my sister's gonna win. Someone's gonna win. Trump. It's like Donald Trump. He always
sounds familiar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jennifer.
But, so she gets up on.
I was just saying, she starts to make a speech, and then she goes on, I'm sorry, Alex, that I let you down. Is that how the scene ends?
Yeah, she gets up on stage, and she says, I don't know what to say. She starts giving a speech, but then quits and apologizes to the audience. And then Alex sticks his head out from the curtains and is like, what the fuck are you doing? Do the speech. And then she's like, I don't know. And then he's like, well, show them the Capitol that I built, the model.
That's it.
And so she does that, but like the audience is sitting there watching all this happen, and they're not responding at all.
Mm-hmm. And it concludes with, hey, Alex, I'm sorry I let you down. This is a very big disappointing moment here. We cut to the kitchen, and thank God there are stacks of big books, because the writers knew we don't have any jokes written in this script. We had better give them funny big props to work with. So there's big stacks of big books on the table again. And
you know what, Corey? There was one thing in the last scene just one quick thing. The Boswells, who have come here to get their comeuppance, actually start fucking with Jennifer during her speech. They start asking her.
Yeah, they're like hecklers.
They start asking her questions about Marbury versus Madison, the Supreme Court case, and all kinds of stuff. And Alex comes out and starts trying to answer the questions. And then the teacher finds out that he's not dumb. So.
Wow. Really? Alex isn't dumb. By the way, you and Barb, what's the age difference there? Is it 3 years?
2.5, yeah.
And did you go to the same high school?
We did.
And you're older than Barb?
Yes.
So when she went to school, did she have the stigma of being Barbara Packler? Are you Paul's sister? Did she have that stigma where the teacher would ask her, oh, is Paul your brother?
Like there were some teachers that gave her quite a hard time because I was such an asshole.
I would assume so. Your sister's quite sweet. I don't know how this happened.
No. It's like twins. It's like
very funny. So we cut to the kitchen. There's big books there. Alex is being asked the very simple question, why did you let him do so much work? Oh, Jennifer's being asked, why did you let him do so much work? And Alex should have known right from wrong. Alex and Jennifer aren't speaking, or Jennifer refuses to speak to Alex. Alex asks for 10 minutes alone with Jennifer to work this out. And then they have this big brother-sister scene that I believe I tasted my lunch for a second time when they started this scene. I started writing the word. Remember the old word from Mad Magazine, blech?
Of course.
Yes, and that's what I wrote down. It was like out of Mad Magazine. It was like, blah, it's just icky.
Yeah.
The scene just got very icky to me. The scene, Alex is like, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to push you so hard. And it seemed to me ultimately like that Jennifer was the victim and Alex was the perpetrator here. And then I really felt as though that somehow or another everything was aimed towards blaming the victim. It's like someone who accuses someone of date rape, and then all of a sudden it's like asking, the what were you wearing questions. Just like, no, don't take this person. Just out of curiosity, what were you wearing? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a nice perfume on? Did you smell good? Stop it, okay? It's just creepy. Stop. And they were treating Jennifer like that, hey, Jennifer, she did nothing wrong. She's 12 years old. Alex is 20. He should have said, you know what, Jennifer, I could do this for you, but it would be wrong. Why don't you do it yourself and then show it to me, and I'll help put a final polish on it with you. So,
yeah. And it's really interesting with Family Ties, and especially Alex Keaton as a character. He usually some person in an episode, and at the end of the episode he apologizes, but then he also has to explain why he did what he did. And so every time it's a matter of like him being a jerk, but then we have to sympathize with, like, I'm sorry, baby, I hit you because I love you. And it's just like, no, Alex. For Gary David Goldberg to constantly try to apologize for the aggressor in every situation where the aggressor acts like an asshole, to me, that makes Gary David Goldberg once again an asshole.
Absolutely. I agree with you. He makes it seem as though it's acceptable to act in this way. You comment upon it, but it's not acceptable to act this way. And he keeps on doing it over and over again.
No.
Alex says to Jennifer, that line that we made fun of, I get really fired up when it comes to you, Jen, which is the first time this has ever occurred to any of us in the 4 seasons the show's been on.
Yeah, they don't have a close relationship of any kind.
Nothing. And yet, I'm all fired up. I would say Alex and Mallory are close, but they're much closer in age.
Yeah.
I would say that Mallory and Jennifer are close, but they're both girls.
Right. And but ultimately...
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, ultimately, the other thing that he says is that they're a lot alike. And that's another reason that she asked him for his help. And it's like, once again, we've never seen them act alike, like even on topics where it's like, oh, let's have pizza. She's like, I want ice cream.
It really has been almost night and day. They 3 kids are pretty good because you can always have a conflict. It's always going to be two against one for the most part. Rarely on this show is it three against everybody. They all have the same opinion. So yeah, it is exactly the way that works a lot of the time with Jennifer and Alex. Is that Jennifer is the dissenting vote?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Oh, come on, Mom, Dad, I'm the littlest one. Why do I always? Anyway, we get to the scene at the very end where Alex tells this long-winded story about Bernie Dugan. You want to explain Bernie Dugan in the end of this scene?
So this is a moment when they're trying to show us, they're trying to tell us how much alike Jennifer and Alex are. That when Jennifer was a little girl, she was in a sandbox with a boy named Bernie Dugan, and he built a sandcastle that was way taller than hers. And she told him, hey, look over there at the monster climbing up the big building. She pushes over the sandcastle. Ha, 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 ha. The dumbest story.
And it just proves that Jennifer has always been as competitive as Alex is. So it's sort of like, therefore we can now give Alex a 10 Hail Marys, and he's confessed, and nobody hates Alex. His character is just fine. It's unblemished.
That's really interesting, Corey. Yeah, it's like they have to constantly tear down other characters so that way he doesn't look like such an asshole. Once you found out that he apologizes, he tells you why he did what he did, and then he has to tear someone else, and it's like, all right, now the world is fine.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Did we make it through this piece of shit episode for the second time?
I think we did, and we got really deep on this one. This is, I think we're really cutting to the quick now.
It is. It was like very self-helpy, like a Dr. Wayne Dyer kind of episode.
I don't know who that is. I'll have to look that one up. Who's that? Who's that person?
What was it? What did Dr. Wayne Dyer?
I believe he wrote books and had infomercials.
He had infomercials for a long time.
Yes,
Died
yes,
just
something
recently
like
too.
that. Yes.
Died within the last couple of years.
Oh, that's too bad.
Thinker.
The deep thinker, which is
Spiritual man.
I like to think that we are both deep thinkers.
Oh, absolutely. When people ask us, what kind of show do you have? I say one in which two of us are deep thinkers and one of us is Scott Jones.
You think they're doing it again right now? Is that why they needed the month off? Do you think he needed the month paternity leave so that he and Kerry could couple once again, could lay with each other as man and wife yet once again?
What is this biblical talk? You're like Cain and Abel or something.
Lay with me, Kerry. Lay with me.
Know me better.
Yes. When you are fertile once again, when ye have healed from your childbirth.
Oh my goodness. All right. But on that note, rate and review.
Last time you asked me to stall for you the last time. This is the best I could do for you with Scott and Kerry dialogue.
And you did it unbidden. That was the best part. You just knew exactly when.
I could see the reflection of your computer in your glasses. I knew when it came up on the screen. I could tell. It's like, okay, I'm finished now. I can finish with the Scott and Kerry bit that's not working.
These piece of shit lenses, they're supposed to be anti-glare.
Get your money back.
Yeah, Warby Parker bastards. All right, here we go. Rate and review our show on iTunes. For questions and comments, email us at qualitytimewithfamilyties@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at Qtwft for updates, and you can follow each of us. I'm at Paul Packler.
I'm at Corpep, and Scott's at Follow Jones.
Like us on Facebook. We'd like to thank our Arbor Dillon at Fanbase Press. Fanbase Press is a comic book publisher and an online community supporting other creators and fans through daily reviews, interviews, and podcasts that span the pop culture spectrum. Check them out at www.fanbasepress.com. We'd also like to thank Perry Adams, who beautifully performs Family Ties and our theme song Without Us. Check out her website, www.perryadams.com. We'd like to thank Brian Dillon, who created our fantastic drawing and artwork, as well as edits our show. Good luck with that one, Brian. Brian is the president and co-founder of Fanbase Press. Follow him on Twitter at Comic Book Slayer. Sean Foster, Fanbase Press's graphic designer, for designing our logo. We will see you next week. Corey?
Sha-la-la-la. We did it.